You know that moment when someone complains about something so fundamentally not a problem that you genuinely question whether they understand how the world works? Well, prepare to have that moment 63 times in a row. What you're about to witness is a masterclass in mistaking inconvenience for injustice, physics for suggestions, and other people's jobs for personal concierge services. If your faith in humanity has been wavering, this next 20 minutes will either restore it completely or obliterate it entirely. Let's find out. 1. A customer at a coffee shop ordered a large iced coffee and immediately complained that the cup was too big. The cup was literally the size they paid for. When informed that they had ordered a large, they demanded a refund because they didn't realize large meant large. Yes, that's actually the word's entire job. 2. Someone bought a black shirt online and complained it was too dark. In their defense, they were expecting black to be more of a light gray situation. The retailer wasn't wrong to ignore this. 3. A person left a one-star review for a pizza place because the pizza arrived at their door still hot. They claimed it was too hot to eat immediately and felt this was false advertising. Somehow they believed hot pizza was a threat to their well-being. 4. A gym member complained that they couldn't cancel their membership because gyms are open during business hours. The complaint was submitted at 11 p.m. on a Sunday. The gym's operating hours were 5 a.m. to 10 p.m. I do not know what they expected to happen. 5. Someone bought noise-canceling headphones and returned them because they said the noise canceling didn't work. They had been using them with the battery completely dead. The feature is battery-dependent. Revolutionary concept, apparently. 6. A customer complained to a restaurant that their water glass wasn't full enough. The water glass was completely full. They wanted it fuller. The laws of physics entered the chat and lost. 7. A person complained that their smartphone screen was cracked after they dropped it from a third-floor balcony. They demanded the manufacturer replace it for free because, and I want you to listen carefully, they thought phones were supposed to be unbreakable by default. That's not a feature, that's a fantasy, that's not even close. 8. Someone bought a plant and complained after 3 weeks that it looked worse than when they bought it. They had not watered it once. They seemed to think plants were decorative items that somehow maintained themselves through sheer determination. It somehow gets worse. 9. A parent complained to a school that homework was being assigned on school nights. They could not understand why educational work would happen during times when children weren't at school. The irony was physically painful. 10. A customer at a movie theater complained that the theater was dark. It's a movie theater. The darkness is the entire structural purpose of the building. They wanted the movie experience with cinema lighting. That's just called a TV in your living room. 11. Someone complained that their flights kept getting delayed and demanded compensation from the airline for their bad luck with weather. The weather was a hurricane. They seemed to believe airlines could simply ask meteorological systems to reschedule. 12. A person complained that a library charged them a late fee for books returned 3 months overdue. Their defense was that they didn't know late fees existed. Late fees are the entire reason libraries have due dates. They thought they were just suggesting a return date casually. 13. A customer complained that a clothing store's size charts were misleading because medium didn't fit them the same way it fit someone else. Their body was different. They seemed shocked by this biological reality. Every person who has ever worn clothes understands that sizes fit differently. This person did not. 14. Someone complained that their hotel room was too quiet at night. They had specifically booked a hotel in the countryside to escape the city. They were disappointed by exactly what they paid for. The silence was the product. They gave 1 star because the hotel succeeded perfectly. 15. A person complained that fast food took 5 minutes to prepare their meal during peak lunch hours. 5 minutes. During peak lunch. They genuinely believed burger assembly should be instantaneous despite 60 other people ordering simultaneously. 16. A customer complained that a video game they bought was too difficult. They didn't want to practice or learn the mechanics. They expected the game to be difficult enough to be interesting, but easy enough that they never had to try. That's not a game. That's a screensaver. 17. Someone complained to their internet service provider that their connection was slow when they used multiple devices at once. They were running 47 tabs in a browser while streaming video while updating software. They had exceeded their connection capacity and blamed the company. Bandwidth is not infinite. I do not know how to explain this anymore. 18. A person complained that a restaurant's chicken breast was too bland. They had specifically ordered it with no seasoning because they were on a clean diet. They wanted unseasoned food to somehow taste interesting. Physics would need a complete rewrite. 19. Someone complained that their apartment was cold during winter and demanded their landlord lower the heating bill instead of paying for warmer. The heating bill is the heating. You cannot have heat and refuse to pay for it simultaneously. This defies logic. 20. A customer complained that a bookstore's memoir section was too sad. Memoirs are inherently about real human experience. They expected non-fiction books about real people to be uplifting on command. Reality is not a mood ring. 21. A person complained that their gym trainer wouldn't let them lift weights improperly. They deemed the trainer's concern about spinal injury too cautious. They preferred potentially permanent paralysis over mild discomfort. The trainer was legally protecting them from themselves. 22. Someone complained that a free sample at a grocery store was too small. Free. Sample. They somehow felt entitled to larger portions of something they were receiving at no cost. The math there isn't mathing. 23. A customer complained that a barista didn't remember their usual order after they had been there twice. 2 visits. In a city with 8 million people, they expected instantaneous memorization of their drink preference after literally 2 interactions. That's not customer service. That's supernatural expectation. 24. A person complained that their mail carrier delivered mail to their mailbox instead of their preferred location inside the house. Their mailbox is where mail goes. That is the entire system. The delivery person was doing exactly their job while being ignored. 25. Someone complained that a hotel's breakfast buffet ran out of bacon at 9:47 a.m. Breakfast service apparently has an expiration time where everything must remain eternally available. Other people had eaten breakfast before them. This had shocked them entirely. 26. A customer complained to a car dealership that their used car had dents. It was used. Dents accumulate with use. They seemed to think used meant somehow pristine and also previously owned. Those are mutually exclusive concepts. 27. A person complained that a clothing store didn't have their exact size and their exact color preference. With approximately 3 million possible combinations, the idea that one store might not have inventory of your specific combination was presented as a conspiracy? It's not. It's statistics. 28. Someone complained that a weather app showed rain, but it didn't rain in their exact location. Weather patterns are not geographically precise to within individual city blocks. They believed meteorology should be granular enough to predict their personal zip code in real time. Even meteorologists don't expect that. 29. A customer complained that a fast food worker didn't upsell them an upgrade they didn't ask for. They were somehow disappointed that the employee respected their stated order. Upselling they weren't expecting was presented as a service failure. This person had inverted reality. 30. A person complained that a streaming service had advertisements. It was a free tier. Advertisements subsidized the product. They expected a completely free entertainment platform to generate revenue through telepathy. 31. Someone complained to their phone company that their bill was too high. They had exceeded their data limit by 400% and were billed overage charges. They believed exceeding a limit should not result in billing for exceeding the limit. Mathematics has entered the chat. 32. A customer complained that a fitness class was too sweaty. Fitness causes perspiration. That's the biological mechanism by which exercise works. They wanted exercise without the exercise side effect. That class is not for you. This much is clear. 33. A person complained that a restaurant's spicy dish was actually spicy. It said spicy. It was spicy. Apparently, the labeling was considered a suggestion rather than a description. They had paid for the warning. 34. Someone complained that their neighbor's tree had leaves that occasionally blew into their yard. Trees shed leaves. That's not a crime. That's botany. They demanded the tree be removed from the neighbor's private property. The audacity was breathtaking. 35. A customer complained that a grocery store's checkout line was moving slowly. Every register was open. It was peak shopping hours. They expected the laws of queuing to bend for them personally. Patience was not invented yet, apparently. 36. A person complained that their Amazon package took 2 days to arrive. 2 days. For an item shipped across a continent. They seem to believe the laws of physics should accelerate specifically for their personal convenience. Logistics is magic now, I guess. 37. Someone complained that a coffee shop's coffee was too hot when they ordered it hot. Immediately, upon payment, they expected a beverage specifically heated to be cool enough to drink before it had time to cool down. Time is apparently optional. 38. A customer complained that a library didn't have a specific book. That specific book was checked out by someone else. They seemed to believe a book's availability should reset instantly the moment they wanted it. The concept of other people's needs was apparently foreign. 39. A person complained to their ISP that their internet was slow because their neighbor was using Wi-Fi too. Wi-Fi is air-based. Your neighbor's connection doesn't throttle yours. Physics would need to apologize for existing. 40. A customer complained that a restaurant didn't serve their preferred dish when they arrived 5 minutes before closing. The kitchen closes before the dining room. That's not cruelty. That's operational necessity. Employees cannot be kept indefinitely preparing food for one person. 41. Someone complained that a gym didn't have the exact equipment they wanted positioned exactly where they wanted it. In the middle of a globally operational facility serving hundreds of people daily. Their spatial preferences somehow superseded everyone else's simultaneous needs. 42. A person complained that their phone's battery drained when they used it constantly. A phone's battery has a capacity. Using it to capacity depletes it. They seem to think batteries were ideological rather than chemical. Physics would like a word. 43. A customer complained that a movie was too long. It was marketed as a 4-hour film. They had not checked the runtime before purchasing. They expected a 4-hour film to be shorter through sheer force of will. 44. Someone complained that a restaurant didn't have a table available at peak dining hours. On a Friday night, in a popular establishment. They seemed to believe restaurant seating should expand like a genie's lamp whenever they arrived. Spatial constraints are apparently discriminatory. 45. A person complained that their lawn couldn't grow because there was too much shade from the massive tree they had planted. The tree had done exactly what trees do. They seemed shocked that plants need light and simultaneously had eliminated that light. The contradiction was staggering. 46. A customer complained that a frozen dinner tasted like frozen food. It was frozen. It was prepared from frozen. The texture and flavor of freezing were apparently unexpected. They had paid for a freezing experience and complained about the freeze. 47. Someone complained that a parking lot was full in a shopping mall during holiday season, during mid-afternoon. They seemed to believe parking spaces should materialize through manifestation. The lot had a physical capacity. They had not accounted for it. 48. A person complained that their gym clothes had shrunk in the dryer. They had used hot water and a hot dryer. On cotton. Fabric shrinking in heat is an unchangeable physical property. They seemed to think their clothes possessed free will. 49. A customer complained that their airline lost their luggage. The luggage was delayed, not lost. It arrived the next day. Apparently, a 24-hour window was emotionally equivalent to permanent loss. Their stuff returned fine. This person remained mad anyway. 50. Someone complained that a bakery's pastries contained butter. The person was butter intolerant. The bakery's entire product line was butter-based. They seemed to believe a bakery's core ingredient could simply be eliminated upon request. That's not a bakery anymore, that's a concept. 51. A person complained that a concert was too loud. It was a rock concert. Amplified guitars and drums are volumetrically intense. They expected a rock concert to have library noise levels. They were in the wrong building, possibly the wrong planet. 52. A customer complained that a salad tasted like vegetables. It was a salad. Vegetables are the primary structural component. They seem to want salad's appearance without salad's biological function. This is some kind of performance art at this point. 53. Someone complained that public transportation was delayed by weather. Snow delayed buses. In winter, when snow accumulates, they believed vehicles should move at optimal speed regardless of environmental conditions. Gravity and accumulation apparently don't affect vehicle movement. News to physics. 54. A person complained that a store didn't accept a coupon that expired a year ago. Expiration means something ceases to be valid. A year is quite the interim. They presented this logical boundary as betrayal. Coupons apparently exist in nonlinear time now. 55. A customer complained that an elevator took time to arrive when they pressed the button. Multiple people had called the elevator from different floors. They expected the elevator to bypass 4 other stops to reach them instantly. Democracy of waiting is not their love language. 56. Someone complained to an airline that the flight was delayed because of mechanical issues. Safety maintenance is apparently a personal insult. They would have preferred the plane depart in potentially unsafe condition on schedule. The complaint itself was a cry for help. 57. A person complained that a video streaming service buffered during poor internet connection. Their internet was slow. Streaming requires bandwidth. The service cannot generate bandwidth through hope. Reality is conspiring against them specifically, or so they believed. 58. A customer complained that a restaurant's private event space was booked when they wanted to use it. For a private event. Someone else had booked it. They seem to think exclusive spaces shouldn't be exclusively booked. The entire concept of reservation collapsed in their mind. 59. Someone complained that a furniture store wouldn't let them return a couch they had owned for 6 months. Return windows exist. 6 months exceeds most reasonable return windows. They believed ownership duration was optional to a return policy. It is not. It is the entire mechanism. 60. A person complained that their heating bill was high in winter. They had kept their thermostat at 75 degrees, in a region where outside temperature was well below freezing. Keeping a home warm when it's cold requires energy. That energy costs money. This exchange of currency for heating is apparently a scam according to them. 61. A customer complained that a gym required them to read the contract before signing up. Understanding the terms of membership was presented as an obstacle rather than basic literacy. They seemed shocked that agreements required knowledge. The contract was only 6 pages. Apparently that's a novel now. 62. Someone complained that a bakery had run out of a specific pastry at 4 p.m. The bakery opened at 8 a.m. They had allowed 8 hours for the entire inventory to be purchased by the general public. They arrived at hour 8 expecting untouched abundance. This is not how supply works. 63. A person complained to their internet provider that their Wi-Fi password was too complicated. The password was 12 characters. It contained letters and numbers. They seem to believe security should compromise entirely to convenience. Protecting your network from unauthorized users is apparently dictatorial behavior now. And there it is. 63 monuments to humanity's infinite capacity to misunderstand basic reality while maintaining absolute confidence. Each one of these complaints represents someone who looked at the world as it actually functions and decided that the world was the problem. Not them, never them. We live in a time where inconvenience is trauma, where physics is a suggestion, and where customer service is apparently a synonym for personal reality adjustment. The people who file these complaints aren't malicious. They're simply operating under the belief that the universe should conform to their preferences on demand. And somehow, they seem genuinely confused when it doesn't. Here's my question for you. Out of all 63 of these, which one made you genuinely question whether that person had experienced the outside world before? Have you actually encountered someone who complained like this? And if so, did you manage to maintain your composure? Let me know in the comments because I need to know I'm not alone in this anymore. If you made it this far without screaming into the void, go ahead and hit that like button and subscribe for more affirmations that humanity is simultaneously brilliant and completely untethered from reality.